Five Servos of Doom is the sixth episode of Transformers Animated's third season, 35th overall, and originally aired April 4th, 2009. In it, Sentinel's taking down a bunch of cons, but everyone thinks that's suspicious. Meanwhile, Prowl remembers he's old. Shenanigans ensue. The episode's title is likely a reference to a G1 episode. The episode opens much like the last episode in the rain, and the group is hunting for the Decepticons. Hey, who's that? Sentinel caught a sunstorm. Somehow. And he muffles the one who's always bragging about others. That's weird. He also literally paid for Swindle's impound, with all the Earth money he doesn't have, and Blitzwing. Keep detail that each one of his faces is also muffled. Storm gets some selfies taken, and they question Sentinel, and he's like, it's no big deal. That doesn't seem like him. Sentinel references the last time they went easy was when Starscream escaped, so Prowl and Optimus leave but start looking at helmets, like Magnus and Blitzwing's. You think they ever modeled Blitzwing's head without the helmet on? Is his faces on either side of his head, or are they just black with circuits and then he spins them around to change them? They eventually find one that looks like the helmet that Optimus saw, which causes Prowl to flashback to Master Yogatron. I wonder if he's related to Bonsai-tron. Prowl is caught by Warpath. Warpath is played by David, doing basically just the Optimus voice, but a lot more gruff and serious. Well, Yogatron is played by everyone's favorite Japanese-American actor, George Takei, who the majority of people know as Sulu from Star Trek or the Emperor from Red Alert 3, saying, "You are made of stupid." This is not the last time he'll play a big authority figure in Transformers.
Quite a waste of spark.
Thank you, Warpath. You may remove the stasis cuffs.
You sure, Master Yogatron?
Prowl was caught by Warpath because he's a draft dodger for the Great War. Like, the war. Which means Prowl and Ratchet are around the same age, even though he was kind of implied to be a young bot in episode 1.
Just mess up my timing.
Young bots. Can't live with them. Can't melt them down for spare parts.
I know people of the same generation tend to not like each other, but it feels weird. I guess they never outright stated that he was a young bot directly, but that kind of thinking leads to dogs playing basketball. Yogi says Prowl can leave and they'll drop the Dodge Charger, if Yogi doesn't stop him first. So Prowl transforms. I think this is the first time seeing his Cybertronian motorcycle. Could be wrong. But Yogi kicks him into the closet. So now Prowl has to wax on, wax off the place. But snapping back into the now, Prowl leaves to go investigate, with Jazz, who apparently also studied under Yogatron a million years ago.
How old are you?
That's a lot of real estate the elite guardship takes up. Sentinel leaves to go on a mission, so the Ninja Bros follow, but another flashback. Prowl has to learn a lesson that's the ninja, not the ninja's tools. Back in the now, and the ship's missing some parts, and Sentinel captured Lugnut. J&J thinks that's super cool, and everyone else thinks that smells like bullshit. Prowl noticing that everyone's disarmed. But Sentinel has Lugnut's bombs, so get out of here with that fake news. In the past,
5 Servos of Doom.
Title drop. Prowl is now good enough to have some hubcap shurikens. And get to see the special place where they have little holograms of past members, including Springer, Spoiler, Sky Gary, yes that's a real character, Devcon, who's a bounty hunter, Diatlas, Jazz, Heavy Load from RID for some reason, Star Upper, who's a kangaroo, from Beast Wars 2, and Road Handler. There's a couple other heads that are impossible to see, but Derek has explained who they are, including Magnus and Starsaber. And then in the center of the special place is the super special place you have to use the Force to open, that is full of protoforms.
To guard these protoforms, they are the future of Cybertron. But if Project Omega fails, we will have no choice but to mold them all for a surge against the Decepticons.
You know the war is dire because the Ninja Dojo has to be the nursery. Prowl uses his own force powers to try and close the doors close enough. So now he's gotta go on a spirit quest to figure it out. And then now he uses holograms and finds out that Magnus is working for someone else. So in close pursuit, He follows Magnus to Tigatron Stadium, a baseball stadium that's named after Tigatron from Beast Wars, which is a reference to the Detroit Tigers, a baseball league in the American League. Even though the Detroit Tigers left the stadium in 1999 and the stadium itself was demolished in 2009. They show the accomplice and who they caught next in 3 seconds, but you can see before they reveal who they are. And yep, it's Lockdown. Would have been a weird twist if it was DEF CON. He also now has a chip in his tooth that sometimes looks like just a missing tooth in general, which he might have got trying to capture Blitzwing. But how did Lockdown capture Lugnut? Or given that a few episodes, you think this is all just a big plan? Sentinel's also trading a thing the ship needs to Lockdown. Prowl catches him gray-handed, but Ramjet's cuffs weren't on. So Sentinel gets handcuffed, and this leads to a fight between Lockdown and Prowl, using some circuit foo, and of course, yeah, Lockdown was the spoiler missing head. Shame they never designed a pre-upgrade Lockdown. In the past, Prowl shows up, the place is wrecked, the protoforms are gone, and Yogatron's near death. But luckily, conveniently, they missed one. Yogi's Spark Chamber resembles Big Convoy's Allspark, Optimus, Mammoth, and the Allspark that 99% of Transformers can actually hold because it has peg holes. So Yogi's resurrected, but he's not happy about it.
Must not sacrifice a piece of the future to bring back the past. Someday you will understand.
In the now, the rest show up to save Prowl. Lockdown just gives Yogatron's helmet back to Prowl, but snare! So he loads Prowl back on his ship, which he has Soundwave from G1's torso and shoulder cannon and like a Gundam shield, and Prowl's sidecar from Fistful of Energon, which he was going to use for himself, and I guess he just felt like painting it black and gold instead of black and green for some reason. But Prowl remembers processor over matter, the ninja, not the tool, set your mind free, and all that other ninja stuff. Fire and Storm remember they can combine in the Safeguard and accidentally hit Sentinel. This is frustratingly the last time we'll ever see Safeguard, probably because Derek was still upset about the name. Won't be the last time Transformers and DC have a complicated relationship of a name. The Primes get cut loose. Prowl slipped into the armor really quick.
It's the ninja bot, not the weapon.
The Primes drop the scoreboard on the Cons and Prowl, who forgot to put on his armor in this shot. But he uses his ninja force abilities to just move that debris away. They cuff Ramjet, but Lockdown escaped. Able to finally call back to Cybertron and get a recap of what happened to Magnus, and Optimus actually lets Sentinel go for what he did. But Prowl's taking all the credit, and he's keeping the armor. And despite that Cliffjumper is played by David, they forgot to credit him as Cliffjumper in the credits. This episode is a massive retcon for Fistful of Energon, but it actually pulls it off great. So yeah, this is the last appearance of normal Prowl. He'll be wearing the armor from now on. In Fistful of Energon, the armor was like a bunch of flashy nonsense that Prowl didn't really need, but now the episode is saying that they're flashy nonsense that helps Prowl, and it's okay to use it because he's more than just his tools. And the whole armor thing kind of is hilarious when you realize behind the scenes this was all just meant to be a joke at the fact that back in ye olde times, back before oil was so expensive and therefore plastic, lots of toys would just have like the most ridiculous accessories or even have these ridiculous armors and color schemes that have nothing to do with anything, just to sell a toy. Like that one joke in Avatar: The Last Airbender.
What do you think? Pretty slick, huh? I need to complete the outfit as a windsword.
What's a windsword?
Is where I get a sword handle, and then I just swing this around and bend air out like a blade.
But they ended up making the armor look too cool, and Hasbro actually wanted to make a toy about it. So now we have this episode to kind of just backpedal and make it. You can tell the helmet's actually slightly different from the first helmet, which is why Prowl didn't care about blowing it up. This is sadly our last appearance of Lockdown, and he definitely leaves on a high note. The setup that the Elite Guard have most of the rest of the Cons is pretty important, and the protoforms will be very important by the end of the season. It's pretty interesting hearing about Prowl's backstory, even if it is retconning that he's a lot older than he seemed. But it's pretty cool seeing Prowl and Lockdown having such parallels with each other, even though the show's completely forgot about Lockdown and Ratchet's rivalry. It manages to kind of mess with the timeline, but it still somehow ends up working really well. 9.5 out of 10. Yugatron with the white, the dull gold, and the black just looks so cool. He's got some obvious tires on his hips, and his feet kind of look like sandals, with the silver parts being his toes. His younger self's kind of giving with those little black shorts and the 4-pack. Warpath looks really cool. He's an elite guard, yet we don't see him in current times because he possibly died in the Great War. I like the tread details on his arms and his legs are slightly different than his arms, so it's not like embedded in his arms. He's got the classic Warpath tank turret in the chest, but it's like sci-fi and Cybertronian. Too bad he's not all saying Zowie and Zam and Kabowie or whatever. Prowl Samurai armor does in fact look really cool on him. A natural evolution of his already existing look. Could have been cool too if they gave him like his G1 colors to honor Yugatron. And I like that they made the rest of the crest gold instead of having the part that peeks up above his glasses be the same gray as the rest of his face, which I've never really liked on his original design. The toy was pretty rad, even though I don't have it anymore, sadly. But make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for me to talk about the rest of the series.